and nearly ready to go. Okay, battle is starting. Hello everyone and welcome to the final of the Total War Maniacs tournament. So this tournament is aimed at people who are not really feeling ready to join in some of the larger things like the Full Cup and the Flash tournaments. It's a more casual setting for people who are still getting their footing in the competitive community and want to have a more laid back approach to it. So this is a best of 3 final and the rules are as follows. Max of 6 of the same unit, max of 6 pikes. A max of 7 elite melee infantry units including the general. No artillery, large funds, standard battle map, no forts. No equipment, no red line exploiting, which is the map edges, and there's a 40-minute time limit. So you can see it's a fairly open flat map with no real terrain to comment on at all really. And here we have the two armies. So Egypt versus the Seleucids. Egypt being played by Werses. Probably pronounced that entirely wrong, I apologise. So we have some African elephants. The general is Ptolemaic cavalry. We then have a second set of those and 2 more on the further flank. We have 1 unit of Galician Royal Guard and what else do we have? Ah yes, and then 6 units of Hellenic Royal Guard hitting his pike cap. And Theros spears are his final unit to spend the rest of his money. Heading over to the Seleucids, we have 4 units of javelin men forming a nice little screen on the front. On the flanks we have light cavalry. We then have some silver shield swordsmen. Looks like 3 units of those, with the general being shield bearers. And then 6 units of pikemen. 3 are silver shields and 3 are thorax, so he's hitting his limit on pikes as well. And then Indian armoured elephants, the much larger version of the elephant in this game. Now I believe the African elephants do not like the Indian elephants and get sort of spooked and suffer morale penalties if they're too close. But I may be wrong on that, may just have been one of the scenarios set up to be like that. But it's definitely a pike-heavy battlefield, and not as much cavalry as we're used to seeing in the Full Cup style tournaments and the Flash tournaments from the TWCC that I have previously commentated. So a lot more foot fighting, and we should have the blood and gore pack on, so lots of up close and personal gore-based fighting going on there. If you don't have a strong stomach, then you may wish to look away when the beheadings begin. Although it's not as bad as the Shogun Blood Pack, so you should be fine. Right, battle is underway. We have the pike wall from Egypt marching forward. He split his army in half, which is an odd selection. It would normally mean you try and isolate one half and eliminate. But the opponents aren't exactly what I would call a mobile force. Being very heavily reliant on pikemen themselves, it's not really an option for them. They do seem to be heading straight for that unit though. We can see the suggested deployment he's going for here. These units going out wide, and he's swinging in. Trying to hit like a pike wall side slam into this army maybe. Be easy. There. Be interesting to see if the G, as Seleucids, turns to face that threat or tries to ignore it. And whether he ends up splitting his own army. Pikemen of course not the most manoeuvrable and extremely susceptible to being hit in the flanks and the rear, where they will take horrendous casualties. So they're going to have to watch their flanks, which may be somewhere that the Egyptian player suffers if he sends his cavalry away from this block. Not having any swordsmen to cover the flank like the Seleucid player has done. Of course the Seleucid player has ranged as well, so he can quite happily kite and pick off certain units if he's got the time and isn't pressured. And them being javelins, they should work better against the elephants than something like slingers would. So definitely a very different style of play here. A lot slower. But that may just be the outcome of the pike heavy armies. Which of course haven't actually taken their pikes out yet. Which increases their manoeuvrability. Everyone walking to position so they don't exhaust themselves. Tactical battle saunter. That's what we'll call this. So interesting choice on the cavalry front. The Seleucids only going for light there. I will not hold up even remotely against Ptolemaic cavalry, which is considerably heavier. But of course the cost difference will be extremely noticeable, so it may have given the Seleucid player a lot more flexibility in picking those lighter units, but we'll see whether he suffers for it or not. Okay, the Egyptians are moving in. Again, very slowly. Interesting to see how the game thinks the balance of power is very strongly in favour of the Seleucids, given that nobody's even remotely engaged yet and they both had the same starting money. Gives you some hint as to how it calculates these things. Unit count obviously comes into it quite heavily. So looking at the timer, looks like there's a sort of delay going on. Seem to be playing at about half speed, which is usually the result of someone's connection or PC. Doesn't seem to be overly noticeable on the troops, maybe a little bit. Hopefully that won't affect the battle too much. A lot of the higher flight players complain when this happens because it gives you increased time to react to maneuvers. You can see flank charges and stuff coming well in advance when you're running at half speed, basically. He definitely seems to be trying to focus this side army. He's got his men running now. Worse is coming in on the side with his pikemen. They are walking though. You may need to start making them run. Oh, he's pulling back his other units. Okay. Not a lot to commentate on at the moment, unfortunately. The Seleucid player seems to be twisting now. He's decided he's not going to chase those guys. He's going to come and engage the pikemen instead. So for anyone having issues with Twitch on the live stream, feel free to swap over to the YouTube version. It's much more tolerant to spikes in internet connection. But here we go, we have a flanking manoeuvre coming from the Ptolemaic cavalry on both sides now. He's getting around in position behind. I wonder if he's trying to draw the light cavalry out for a fight, which he'll quite clearly win. He outnumbers them. He just has to watch he doesn't overcommit his general there. His general being quite far away from his infantry forces, they won't get the bonuses off of him. And should he go down, that'll be problematic. And here comes the ranged javelins. Let's watch this from the Egyptian perspective. Who's likely to get targeted? Looks like they might be going for this unit. In they come. Just hover here so you can see the count on the units. Taking fire, but they're quite a heavily armed unit. And there come the pikes. And now they're moving in. Forced to react. But the cavalry's coming on the flank. It's taking on the lights. It's drawn the elephants across. And here come the other units. That was the distraction. It's all go from the Egyptian player. There we go. Ptolemaic cavalry in on the lights. Supporting cavalry come in to try and deal with the elephants. And we're going to have phalanx on phalanx. Clash of the pikes. Okay, the light cavalry there are breaking. In come the African elephants. May have been better used against the general right now. There we go, they're turning. He's breaking the ranged units. Trying to hit this flank. This could be a good use of the pikemen here. Hit the thorax pikemen in the side with the Hellenic Guard. Completely unprotected. But there is a set of thorax pikemen coming to do the same to them. So the rest of the line is just poking wars. Pikemen poking pikemen. It's about equal. Although it does appear the Seleucids with their held position are winning in certain places. Yeah, the Egyptians are starting to rout now. He needs to break up this fight and get his units in on the rear. Don't think he's going to have time. Galatian Guard need to go in on these. Need to stop chasing a unit halfway across the map they'll never catch. And here come the elephants. Oh, Ptolemaic cavalry about to run. Not liking these Indian elephants. In fact, they haven't killed a single one. I know two have gone down now. Just collapsed. African elephants coming in here. Stomping on these poor silver shield pikemen. And here's the flank charge. This pikeman unit will be utterly crushed. We do have a couple of ranged javelin units firing on the Galician Royal Guard though. So the Seleucid player is just mopping up the remainder of the Egyptian pikemen. I would say it's definitely in his favour at the moment. The Egyptian player had a nice flank charge on the rear of the army, but his own pikemen just did not hold the ground long enough. Getting charged from all directions by swordsmen. They won't hold long. He's desperately trying to pull down these Indian elephants. He's only lost 4 so far. General on general. The Seleucid player, just the extra units he's got available to him. He's in control at the moment. Range unit standing around not doing too much, and we've got a whole unit of pikemen here doing nothing. Maybe he could be making better use of his micromanagement. But the Egyptian players' units are routing. Although he does seem to be winning this. Although he's down to 40 men, so it shouldn't last too long. Especially as he's being attacked in the rear. Oh, nasty. Just getting poked in the back by a rather large pike. It's never going to be pleasant. So we have 2 units of cavalry left for the Egyptians, 1 unit of Royal Guard and 1 unit of Hellenic Guard. The Hellenic Guard can pretty much be written off though, they're surrounded and getting crushed. The Royal Guard, however, are defeating the general. But the Indian elephants have only lost 6 of their number, so they're still a force to be reckoned with. He's throwing them in against the cavalry here. They're big beasts. And they should tear quite a lot of this cavalry down, especially with infantry support. There we go. So this round is nearly over. It's just mopping up now. So here we have pikemen. He's got to hit them from one side. So they're going in front on there. The Seleucid player with 2 units there has the winning advantage. There we go. He's stationaried up one of his units. And they're running. And there goes the Egyptian forces. The Seleucid player wins the round. So not too much difference in the kills and losses, about 100 men. Let's have a look at which units were the most efficient. So on the Egyptian team, the general, the elephants, the swordsmen, one of the units of cavalry. One of the pikemen did very well, that would have been the one that was hitting someone in the flank. The rest, not so much. On the Seleucid side, pikemen doing pretty well. This unit here got absolutely slaughtered, but at the same time, well, sorry, it didn't get slaughtered. It did very little, but it didn't lose much either, is what I was trying to imply. The swordsmen not being anywhere near as effective. And their ranged units possibly not used to maximum effect, but again, a lot of their utilisation is in forcing the enemy to do things they wouldn't otherwise want to. So, that was the end of round 1. We'll switch to this screen so I don't give away any army composition. And we should be on to round 2 shortly. So yep, just got confirmation it is best of 3. So Werses has to win if he wants to stay in this. So we're just waiting for the opponent to show back up again. It seems he's disconnected for some reason. Somebody in comments is asking, is the Sunday line battle native and is it 5:30 or 6:30? Neither. 1, it's not native, and 2, it's not 5:30 or 6:30, it's 7. And it's for Napoleonic Wars, so it's not native at all. Seems G is restarting another computer, because I think he was the one having the issues with the slowdown there. And Pinkabet, I just answered that question. No, the Sunday battle is not native. It is Napoleonic Wars. And no, there is not a Darth mod for this game because Darth is busy building his own game at the moment. He's working on a American Civil War game. I can't remember what it's called. What do Darth mods do? Go look at a set of patch notes for a Darth mod. They're pages long. There is no way I could even remotely tell you the amount of changes they make. They usually change everything from graphics to sound to AI to map starting positions to factions in the game. It's crazy the amount of changes a Darth mod normally fixes by the time it's fully developed. Right, I'm back in the game, and we're just waiting for them to pick. It looks like we'll have a very different map this time, unless they're going to change it. Looks like they're still picking factions at the moment. Right, I just have to keep the screen on while they pick their army units, guys, otherwise it gives an advantage to one of the players because he can see what the other player's picking. Dun, dun, dun. Somebody in the YouTube comments tell Pink Bear Raider the 8 times I've answered him and actually type it at him that no, the Sunday line battle is not native. I'm guessing by the fact he's incapable of listening that he may not have English as his first language. Yes, I'm streaming on YouTube as well. I stream to both because some people's internet connections don't work very well with Twitch's servers. So those people can watch on YouTube and therefore still take part. And we are back with round 2 of the Total War Maniacs tournament final. So we're in the Battle of Alexandria now, much more trees. It's going to be a very different battle to what we're used to. We do not normally see these kinds of maps. So we have the Seleucids versus Epirus. Now I think Werses has taken the Seleucids this time, and G has taken Epirus. So for Werses to stay in this final, he's going to have to win this round as it is a best of 3. So as you can see, a lot more trees here, a lot more cover, and a lot of places to hide. I suspect, however, we will end up with just a big battle in this open bit in the middle, which is unfortunate because I would have liked to see a battle involving more hidden units and sneaky tactics, but, well, there you go. However, I much prefer Epirus' deployment. He could sneak a unit in here and then quite happily walk it slowly up to this point, whereas the Seleucid player doesn't even have that option. They can't get into the cover to start with. Although it seems instead he's going to go up this side where he can get next to nowhere. Yes. Logic. Anyway, let's take a look at what the two armies consist of. So, the Seleucid army, Thorax Pikeman to the count of 6, which is his limit for the rules. Thorax Swordsman, Royal Peltasts on each flank. We then have some light Peltast support. I think that was just to use up the remaining cash he had available. And Agema Cavalry. 3 units of that, and some Scythe Chariots. Lovely looking things. Those will be brutal for their initial hit, assuming that Creative Assembly have fixed them in their recent patches, because at one point they just didn't do anything except roll through the unit and push them aside, who then walk back into formation. So Epirus have some spears on the flank along with all of his cavalry, so we've got 3 units of Aspis Companion Cavalry and 2 of Hellenic Royal Cavalry. And in the centre we have 4 units of Javelin Men. So the same setup as last time for the G. The general is Hellenic Royal Guard with, it's going to be 6 units of pikemen maybe? And at the back, another set of Aspis Companion Cav, just to act as a sort of a blocker to run and cover the formation wherever they require it. So yeah, five sets of non-general pikemen, and the general making up the 6th one in his allowance. You can see them all hiding in the long grass here in their brightly coloured outfits. And I will never get over the floppy sun hat that the Greeks seem to love so much. It does look like they've just come off the beach or something. But there you go. Oh no, we've had a move. The companion cavalry going where we suggested at the start. So that should be everyone ready to rumble. We just have to wait for them both to click start. Oh, we have some messages. Oh, just checking they're ready. Good luck, have fun, and off they go.
Once it is drawn, I will fight. I expect nothing less of you, brave soldiers. The gods, too, look on in keen expectation. Let us show them glory.
Don't worry, boys. We're just hiding in the woods, yelling loud speeches for all to hear.
On me. Marching order.
So, the Seleucid pike wall moves forwards. They'll come into vision. And it looks like Epirus might do the same. Nope, they're quite happy to sit there. Looks like the javelins are shuffling. He's doing a bit of manoeuvring. So I'm expecting them to meet at least reasonably out towards the centre here. It's all going to come down to how effective this ends up being. Just in case they're listening, I'm going to be suitably vague about that one for now. Gotta love these units. You don't see these enough in battles. Probably due to their general lack of effectiveness usually, but we'll see how they get on in this one. See whether recent patches have changed their uselessness. So these swordsmen were running, they would have come into vision there. And we've got some movement from the Epirus player finally. I'm definitely surprised he didn't make more use of this side. This would have let him get much further behind the enemy before being visible. Definitely slow moving again. The pikeman based armies taking their time to get into position. No one really wants to leave their cover. I think Epirus will be staying in cover trying to draw the Seleucids forward for his strategy. We've got some camels fleeing the battlefield. They want nothing to do with this. The elephants are on the same wavelength, they're heading off. Not much else to look at, so you may as well see the wildlife. You'll see the very young David Attenborough hidden in the bushes over here. So here we go. Epirus's ranged units coming into vision, no longer hidden by the trees. The Seleucid player knows where the army is. And the pikes are out. Seems a bit strange being quite so far away from the enemy and pulling those out now, but he obviously has a plan. It's a very wide front the Seleucid player's got compared to the Epirus. If he can swing that round the flanks, he would get an advantage over these troops. Interesting choice of positioning here. Makes me wonder what he knows. The problem with shoutcasted tournaments on the internet, of course, there are only so many steps you can take to prevent people being aware of what's going on through the stream. Delay servers and stuff only go to a finite amount of time. This could end badly. And they've been spotted. And that's a shifty retreat there. Instantly turn around and leg it. Having none of that. The flank redeploys. He has left this. There we go. The pikes. I was going to say their flank's been exposed. He's shuffling all of his men around now. Has he noticed this threat over here, however? He may be so focused on this that this is currently out of vision. It does seem there aren't any reactions to it yet. Equally, he could be hiding his own men for a nice little flank attack on them, bait them in with the rear of your troops. Nope, there we go. We've got a charge. Agema cavalry. Oh no, the Aspis have decided better of that. Very heavy shock versus very heavy melee. The initial bonus should go to the Agema, but the Aspis should win out in the long run. There we go, he's detached a unit of Thorax swordsmen to come over and assist. Now, what is Epirus up to with their cavalry? Not a lot. Now, that's an interesting choice. He's sending his foot troops to try and chase down or at least influence the positioning of the enemy cavalry. That's a lot of men he's dispatching that way. How's this fight going? Let's take a look. 47 versus 47. Aspis losing at the moment. Combat even. Thorax coming into range. Just check nothing else is happening. Nope. We'll continue spectating this for now. We'll do it like this so we can see what's going on. So in come the swordsmen to assist their cavalry. Weight of numbers coming to effect now. The Aspis were actually starting to turn that fight around. The Agema's starting to lose now. Shock cavalry having lost its shock value as the fight prolongs. There we go, they're starting to flee. The Thorax swordsmen not really getting involved, they're holding formation. Just sort of standing there, waving swords at the enemy. But, let's have a look here. Oh, chariots charging straight at a pike wall. Definitely ineffective. 4 kills for the Scythe chariots. Unit annihilated for the Epirus faction. And here we have the cavalry coming for a nice little flank assault. Oh, the Agema are going to catch them in the side. There we go. Actually coming off worse for it. But the Seleucids are in at the rear now. Pike's coming up on the rear of the pikes. He's going to try and roll up this flank. Don't go in, pikemen. Just stand just out of range. He doesn't want to be sending these guys in. He wants them just standing there. These guys can engage from the rear.
Move, you dogs!
Cavalry charges galore. What's going on over here? In comes some more Thorax to help out their friends. But that Agema cavalry is getting slaughtered at the moment. Spears on Peltasts. Peltast should win that. There we go, the flank of the Epirus army going down. He's lost a whole unit of Thorax pikemen in the process. There's a lot of Epirus cavalry around here. Epirus forming a right-angled defensive line just to try to hold back the units. Oh, he's throwing in his general into a pike wall. This could end badly. There we go, he's pulled them out. The light Peltas throwing flaming javelins. Not generally considered the best use of them. The flaming severely reducing their accuracy and rate of fire.
Steady, men, steady! Understood. Yes, Commander.
Here we go. Pikemen moving out of formation. Will they go for the general or will they come in on the flank here? They're coming in on the flank. There we go. Looks like the Epirus cavalry breaking away on the flank here, leading a unit of Thorax swordsmen away. The other cavalry detachment quite happily beating back this Agema cavalry, 3-1. There's units of foot troops for the Seleucids all over the place, not getting involved. But he does seem to be doing reasonably well on this flank, although there is a bit of a face-off happening. Here come the cavalry. Going for the Peltasts. Will these pikemen deal with them? Not quite. Oh! Thorax pikemen hitting the flank by cavalry there.
Keep a steady pace.
Epirus just seeming to have more units, although all of their ranged units are now tied up by some Royal Peltasts who are busy chewing through them. Let's get some close-ups in here. Oh! The Peltasts losing quite a lot of men there. From the look in... Surrounded, I guess, not helping them. Could still go either way, but Epirus definitely has the more flexible units left. And he's got some nice positioning going on, as we can see here. The flank of these thorax pikemen about to get brutally butchered. These poor swordsmen getting attacked from all sides, about to get pikemen in the rear. As we saw last round, pikemen in the rear is a chronic affliction resulting in death. Three units of cavalry standing around doing nothing. Some more micromanagement required from the Epirus player here. It could still get turned around if he doesn't get them involved. The Epirus infantry units falling slowly. He needs to get these extra units involved and engaged. Currently 5 units of cavalry just standing around doing nothing. Focusing on the micromanagement of his pikemen, who are being charged in the flank. Royal Peltas going in. Sword to sword fighting. They've ditched their pikes. A particularly bloody example here. Oh, gutted. But here comes the pike unit in the rear. And running away again. Ah, they were getting charged by Royal Peltas. Cavalry starting to come back into the fight now. The general getting charged by 3 units of them. This could be a turning point. Again, units just doing nothing. There we go. The G making use of flanking attack there. Those thorax swordsmen shouldn't last long. His blob style attack of these 3, however, could have been better used. But he is focusing down the general. So that may work for him in the long run. It could still go either way. His own general's open for attack. The pikemen are avoiding them. Oh, and the Peltas are getting run down by cavalry. That's all over. They won't be coming back to join the fun. The Epirus cavalry seem to be clutching this for them. Peltas not moved out of the pikemen's range in time. Several of them taking damage. Random blood spouting from mid-air. It's an interesting dynamic there. In come the cavalry. The general's gone. The remaining units not far behind. Thorax pikemen desperately running away from the Hellenic Royal Guard chasing them. Always an impressive pike formation in this game. Royal Peltas getting charged by 5 units of cavalry. Aspis companions, Hellenic Royal Cavalry, and they're about to break. And here comes the pike on pike. And they're running. So, victory to the G again with Epirus. He wins the final of the tournament 2-0 and takes the victory. So, congratulations to the G on winning the Total War Maniacs tournament. Quick analysis of the units there. Pikemen definitely getting put in the right place at the right time for those 2 units. The ranged, not so much, but again, they're more to force the enemy into certain actions. Cavalry doing reasonably well. Over here on the Seleucid side, these Royal Peltas pretty much carrying the army. And one of the cavalry units and the Thorax swordsman doing very nicely. I believe that's Thorax, it may have been something else. I'm not entirely up to scratch on my Seleucid icon pictures, unfortunately. But Victory goes to the G. Congratulations. So, to all the people in the live stream, hopefully you enjoyed that. I now have to disappear because we have a line battle event to set up. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this live stream and want to see more live streams, they happen on Wednesdays. Usually at either 7 or 8 PM GMT. Failing that, you can always catch most of my content on YouTube, which it gets uploaded as soon as I get around to it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.